should have stayed in the drafts, I fear. Imagine Johnny Kavanaugh from Boys of Tommen if he was psychotic. That's what this was. Hi everyone, my name is Taylor. I will talk to anyone and everyone about books who will listen, and today we're going to talk about the 8 books that I read in August. It was honestly a whirlwind of a month. I was kind of at the end of one of the most insane months of my life, but then also still actively in it. And then when it comes to the actual books that I read God Tears, but I also read a lot of books that I hated. So starting out, we finished the House of Devils series. I read the first one in July, so if you want to see my actual thoughts on that one, and like obviously non-spoiler for these, go watch that. Now, I can't really talk about what happened in these, but just know, oh my god, this series is one of my favorite series of all time. I gave every single one of the books in this series 5 stars. Now, the only downside to the series is that it's not finished, so there is going to be, I know at least another one, maybe 2 more coming out in the series, but basically this is an urban fantasy, and I know a lot of people don't like urban fantasy. It's the most like natural feeling urban fantasy, if that makes any sense. It doesn't feel forced, and honestly, I love Crescent City. I love this more than Crescent City. This gave me very similar vibes, but I loved this so much more, and I love Crescent City. But this is honestly just one big found family. They're fighting this group kind of similar to like a secret society in a way. They're fighting them because they're trying to kind of take over the world and bring all these monsters into the world, and so they're all fighting against that. But there are 2 main couples that you follow. In the first 2 books, you follow Loren and Darian, and then you continue to follow Loren and Darian here, but then you also have Roman and Shay that are introduced, and then there are some other side couples that are introduced as well, but those are the 2 main couples, and I love them so much. When I tell you that Darian Castle is like Rowan Whitethorn level for me, he's everything. He's not quite Rowan because Rowan will always be my number 1, but he is up there 100%. I love Darian so much. These men, Roman and Darian both, are so, like, they're so bad. They're so just rough around the edges. Everyone's terrified of them. But what I loved most about them is that although they're so scary and they're so powerful, they're not afraid to cry. They're not afraid to show their emotions. They're not afraid to protect their real family, but also their found family as well. They're so in tune with their emotions, and they're not scared to show the way that they truly feel. It's not that like toxic masculinity that you see in a lot of other books where they have morally gray men. It's just everything about these men was everything to me. The end of every single one of these books is insane. Like, you will have your jaw dropped because the series is incredible, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is the perfect balance of romance, but also insane plot, and also you'll be crying, but also you'll be giddy. Like, it's everything. This series has everything that you could possibly need and more. And then the next 2 books that I read were anticipated releases, so I did reading vlogs for those if you want to go and watch that. They're non-spoiler, of course, as always. But the first one was Romantasy. Now, this is the second book in the Fated Fixation duet. The first one is called Limerence. I read this last year, and Limerence was easily one of my favorite dark romances of all time. It's just so, it's very hard for me to really connect with a dark romance because dark romances, in my opinion, are typically very, like, they're good, but they're not God tier level for me. They're not life-changing in any way. But honestly, their dark romances can sometimes be very repetitive for me. So it's, when I say I have a favorite dark romance, like, it's very rare. But Limerence basically followed this girl who, she went to this boarding school, and she wasn't rich at all, but she was there on a scholarship. She was surrounded by all these rich kids. She sees someone be murdered, and she thinks the one who did the murdering was the school's golden boy, and so he's super popular. His parents help fund the school, very rich, and he's literally like the golden boy. Like, imagine Johnny Kavanaugh from Boys of Tommen if he was psychotic. That's what this was. He portrayed himself as the golden boy, just perfect and helping everyone, but then in reality he's actually a psychopath. But basically, without spoiling anything, Romantasy takes place 10 years after Limerence, so I was very excited for this. It follows the same exact couple. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I did not like this as much as Limerence, but I still really liked it. Like, I love Limerence. I liked Romantasy. I felt like it could have been way longer. It was only like 280 pages, and at first I was like, oh, I'll be able to read this super fast, that'll be great. But then as I was reading it, I wanted it to be longer. I wanted it, I think, had it been at least like 350, I probably would have liked it a lot more. I just think the author could have expanded a bit on the actual plot and the conflict. I felt like the conflict was really where it got me, because I felt like the conflict was resolved very quickly, and she forgave him right away. And honestly, like, he's a sociopath, he's a psychopath, and she's into that. Like, she likes the fact that he's psychotic, and so it's definitely easier for her to forgive him than it is as a reader, I think. but I just wish that it had been expanded on a little bit more, and so that's why I gave it 4 stars. But just something about the way that Adrian is written, the way that he's written in these books, the way the author writes him is as if he's manipulating you as a reader. He's not only manipulating the girl, but he's manipulating you, and the way that it's written is unlike anything I've ever seen. And so this duet was very good. I do wish it had been longer. Obviously, I wish the actual conflict had been drug out a little bit more, but other than that, still very good. And then the second anticipated release was Precious Hazard. This is the 3rd book in the Perfectly Imperfect Mafia series. This is not the 3rd book. This is the 11th book. This is the 11th book in the Perfectly Imperfect Mafia series. I love the Perfectly Imperfect series. I think it's a very well done series. I read the first 10 books like back to back to back to back. And you would think like, oh, you're probably tired of Mafia after that. Honestly, no, I thought that every single one was unique in its own way. I gave the 10th one 3 stars. I didn't really like the 10th one, but other than that, a couple of them got 5 stars and then most of them got 4 stars. I felt like it was a very well done series. I love that series so much. It has so much disability representation in it. I really enjoyed it. They read very fast, but they're also not insta-lovey. Like, love them. Now, I think that this series should have stopped at book 9. So book 10 I didn't really like, and then book 11 comes out. I'm excited for it, obviously, because I really like the series. However, I don't think that they should have come out with this book. I'm not typically a fan of arranged marriage. I love Mafia, but I'm not a big fan of arranged marriage. However, this author does it very well. So that's why I was very open-minded going into it. I was like, you know, I love everything else this author writes. Maybe there would be some uniqueness to it, but honestly, it was just like any other arranged marriage Mafia romance. There was nothing special about it to me. I wasn't really the biggest fan of the girl. Like, she was intentionally trying to get on his nerves for things, and while I would typically love that, I would be like, okay, baddie, like, go off, piss him off. I love that. I did not like, I don't know what it was. It was just something about her really rubbed me the wrong way. I just wasn't entertained. I didn't really, like, I was falling asleep reading it. So I DNF'd it, to say the least, and I never DNF things ever. Like, before this book I had DNF'd literally 2 books in my entire life, so the fact that I DNF'd this was crazy. But I truly think that Darien Castle ruined me, because after I finished House of Devils, anything and everything is so difficult to get my attention. So yeah, I DNF'd this. I think there's another book coming out in the series. I do plan to read that, but it's really gonna have to be great for me. But up until book 9 in that series, I cannot recommend enough. Book 10 and 11 should have stayed in the drafts, I fear. And then we read Taming Seraphine. Now, oh my god, if you read this, check the trigger warnings, because I was like, okay, maybe the reason I DNF'd the Perfectly Imperfect book was because I'm not in a Mafia mood. Maybe I'm just in a dark romance mood. So I was like, what is the most unhinged dark romance book I can think of that I can find? So I come across Taming Seraphine because I know of Gigi Styx. I know that this author is a very infamous dark romance author. Now, Taming Seraphine follows this girl, Seraphine, who she has been a sex slave for about 5 years, I think, or 3 years, something like that. While she's held captive, she's being taught to become kind of like an assassin. And so she's going out and taking people out and killing them, you know? So while she's being held captive and she's being abused and she's going through all these things, she's also being trained to become a stone cold killer in a way. And so the main guy of this book, he ends up saving her, he gets her out of captivity, and he kind of takes her in. And so it is a little bit Stockholm Syndrome-y, I'm not gonna lie, but that didn't really bother me. I liked it at first because she's very unhinged. She's gone through so much. She's been trained to be this stone cold assassin. She's gone through all this trauma that she hasn't worked through. Girl needs professional help for sure. She would snap like that. Someone would look at her the wrong way, someone would talk to her the wrong way, she would kill them. She would kill everyone in the room. She was such a baddie. Honestly, she was very much Lana Myers from the Mindfuck series, but way more unhinged. And I really loved that about her. I thought that was very unique. Like, she lives with the guy and the guy's like, who have I brought into my house? What have I brought into my house? Because she's acting crazy. It just got very dark. The sun needs to come back out. And so the guy really is out of his element. He has no idea what he's dealing with, but it's a little bit Stockholm Syndrome-y. She is kind of trying to take back her, oh my god, the cloud again. She's kind of trying to take back her autonomy, and so she ends up getting into this arrangement with him, and it's kind of like a BDSM dom sub relationship. I am not the biggest fan of that. Any book that I've ever read that has any sort of BDSM in it, I never end up liking. I don't know why. That's just not my thing. Everybody's got their own thing. That's not my thing. But it started being less of an unhinged, like, oh my god, she's something plot, and more of like, oh, we're gonna focus on the BDSM aspect of it. And it just felt like the actual like plot that I was interested in at first kind of stopped. I could tell where the plot was going to. I could tell exactly what was going to happen, and so I was just like, I'm not really interested in this. So I once again DNF'd this. I DNF'd 2 books back to back. As someone who is a chronic non-DNF'er, I have now DNF'd 4 books in my entire life, 2 of which were in the same week and back to back. Once again, we are blaming Darien Castle. Also, though, there's a scene in this about a sandwich. She gets really angry at this one guy because this guy tried to touch her. And so she does something and cuts something and puts it on bread. And that is simply a scene that I will never forget. Now, that's not the scene that made me DNF it. It's not. I just kept on going. I was like, okay, girl's very much unhinged. Got it. Moving on. That's not what made me DNF it. That honestly was like, I DNF'd it like a while after that. So, anyway, next up we have Older by Jennifer Hartman. Now, I was treading very lightly because I was like, I have DNF'd 2 books. Is it me? Is it the books? Is it Darien Castle? I don't know. I don't know why I'm DNFing books. So I was treading very lightly. I'm like, I need to read something that I know I'm gonna like. Older by Jennifer Hartman is about a girl who gets with her best friend's father. Sign me the fuck up. Thank you very much. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Complete side note. That is one of my favorite taboo romances of all time. That book is ex-boyfriend's father. It's age gap. I love taboo, things like that. I love it so much. And so that's forever and always been my favorite taboo romance. Older by Jennifer Hartman is now my favorite taboo romance. I loved this so much. This was so much more than just, you know, the taboo-ness of it all. So much more than the age gap and the best friend's father. It was so emotional. It was so, like, she has such a bad home life. Check the trigger warnings for this for sure. But she has such a bad home life. She goes through so much at home and all he wants to do is protect her, but obviously he can't overstep because he's the father of her best friend. They want to be together so bad. They love each other so much, but they can't because they don't want to ruin his relationship with his daughter, but also her relationship with her best friend as well. And also when they first meet, they have no idea that they have that, like, mutual relationship. They don't know. Like, she has no idea that that's her best friend's father. He has no idea that that's his daughter's best friend. So when they first meet and they form that connection, they don't know who the other person is. And then it's like later on they realize, like, oh, we can't be together because we have this mutual person. She goes through so much. It's so emotional. And then also he goes through so much mentally as well, just yearning for her, and the tension, the yearning, everything about it. They wanted to be together so bad and they couldn't. But this was so much more emotional than I expected it to be. Like, truly had me tearing up at some moments. I did not expect any of that. And he, oh my god, I loved this so much. This is easily God tier, easily 5 stars. Like, if you like a man who yearns, this man yearns, let me tell you. And then the last book that I read in August is The Casualty of Us. I actually just finished it this morning. Is it September 1st? Yes, but I am including it in my August wrap-up because I read most of it in August. But this is actually an arc. This doesn't come out until September 17th, but I cannot recommend it enough. Please put it on your TBR. Please plan to read it. But basically, in the prologue of this book, the main girl gets kidnapped, and then when the actual book starts, she has been rescued from kidnapping. So she's no longer kidnapped. But she went through so much while she was kidnapped, and she continuously gets flashbacks throughout the book. So that's why I say check the trigger warnings. But she goes through so much, and then shortly after her kidnapping, she plans to go to college. And so now when she's at college, she ends up getting with her brother, her twin brother's roommate. And so you would think that the roommate, he's gonna be like a jerk, he's a college guy, he's gonna be all the miscommunication, everything. No, it was literally all her. Like, he was perfect. He loved her so much, he cared for her so much from the beginning. He was all in on her. Now, he does do something that, like, you're like, oh my god, okay, that pissed me off, but also it's very much redeemable. When I say that she provided all the miscommunication, she genuinely did, but honestly she had a reason. Like, she's going through all of this trauma, she hasn't really worked through it, she's trying to protect everyone around her, and so she was going through so much. And this was honestly just so emotional, but it was so, I was kicking my feet giggling at certain parts. I loved him so much, and I loved that dynamic of him being the one who was putting in the effort and then her being the one that was kind of like the problem. Like, I felt like that was a very refreshing dynamic. Now, this is part of a duet, so it does leave off on a cliffhanger. That is the only downside, and I'm so upset because I need the next book, but I'm like, the first one's not even out yet. This one's not even out yet. Thank you so much for the author for giving me this arc because it was incredible, and I cannot recommend this one enough. Easily God tier. So we did find multiple God tier books this month, but we also DNF'd 2 books. Sacrifices got to be made though. So those are all the books that I read in the month of August. Let me know in the comments what you read in August or what you're looking forward to reading in September. I have so many anticipated releases coming out in September, so I can't wait. And honestly, the September release reading vlog is gonna be so long. So stay tuned for that.